Hi everyone and welcome back. As you can see, I have some cookie cutters over here, and in this bag I actually have some clay tools, which I'm not quite sure what they all do, but we can figure that out together. Also, I have some clay here, and I haven't actually had a chance to work with it. I mean, it's been opened. As you can see, I have some dry bits down here because I was going to use it for a project, but since I couldn't get it to stick to my canvas, I didn't even try molding it. I just tossed it in the bag and forgot about it. But with Christmas right around the corner, I thought now would be the perfect time to start making some of my own ornaments because yes, I definitely put my Christmas tree up already and some of the ornaments had broke, so my Christmas tree was lacking in decoration, so I am going to fix that today. And right off the bat, I felt like I was already struggling with this clay. It is quite sticky. If you work with this clay, please let me know if there's something that I should be doing to make it not so sticky or if this is just how it is. Yeah, I'm used to using Sculpey clay and just sticking it in my clay roller, which is much easier than this. But once I got it rolled out to a point that I thought would be fine, I just go in with a wet sponge to try to smooth it out the best that I can. And then the first cookie cutter I'm going to use is of a little gingerbread man. And then of course we got to do a Christmas tree, and I have a few other ones that I'm going to do. And I don't know if it's just me, but I just found this to be so satisfying, like the way it just perfectly cut into the clay and how smooth it looked. It kind of gave me that artistic dopamine itch. And yeah, I definitely see myself wanting to do more clay work in the future. Also, this little cookie cutter right here is supposed to be a Santa Claus, but I have a little something special for this one, and I'm gonna change it up a bit, but you'll have to keep watching to see what I end up doing with that one. And now that we've got all of these ones cut out, we can do our satisfying peel, and just look how nice that looks. Now the next thing I have to do is, because it's so sticky, is use my little blade tool here to try to peel it up. And it kind of messed the back up a little bit, but nothing that a wet sponge can't fix. And now I'm just gonna go around and clean up the edges of all of these clay pieces and add the little holes at the top, so that way when they are all done, I can hang some ribbon through them. But yeah, look how cute. Anyways, I'm gonna finish the rest of them really quick. Okay, and now that those are all nice and smooth, I'm just going to quickly clean off my workspace here because I'm now going to try to make a Christmas themed tic-tac-toe board because my daughter has become a little bit interested in playing tic-tac-toe now. Although she likes to skip my turn a lot, so she's always guaranteed the win, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna make this into a gingerbread house. And my first attempt didn't go so well. As you're about to see, I ended up not rolling out enough clay and my angles were off, so I ended up having to scratch that and restart, unfortunately. I even tried my best to smooth it out at the top and try to stretch it out just a little bit more, but as you can tell, it didn't work. But the second attempt, it all worked out and I was able to get my angles right. And then I just go in and smooth it out as well with my sponge. And then I'm gonna take whatever this little tool is called, I'm not sure, and I'm just gonna start carving out the middle of the gingerbread house. And now that I have it all carved out the way I want it, I'm just going to use my finger and smooth it out again. And then I'm going to start rolling out some snake-like shapes to be used as the lines for the tic-tac-toe board. And then I'm also going to go in with this little tool here to create little dashes in both pieces. That way it helps them stick together better. And then I use a couple other tools to help smooth it all out, and I make sure to use lots and lots of water. Okay, now I'm going to actually add some magnets to this. So I'm just going to use my little dotting tool to create little holes in each spot. And then I will just take a very thin layer of clay to cover it up. Okay, and now I'm going to take some more clay and I'm going to roll up 5 small little balls because I'm going to end up molding them into little gumdrops. And I'm also going to make 5 little peppermints, but I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me make each one, so let's go ahead and snap that in really quick. All right, and there we go. We have all of our pieces right here. And now I'm going to roll out some more clay so I can make a few more ornaments. And the next one that I went to make, I kind of did it backwards. So I use a glass to cut out this circle shape after I had already stamped the cookie cutter. And I shouldn't have done that because it was kind of hard to see through the glass to make sure that the tree was in the center. And I also ended up not pressing hard enough because I was afraid to ruin the cutout of the tree. So I ended up having to kind of trim away the edges, and it ended up being a little wonky looking, but that's okay. It's always good to have a practice piece. And I also ended up making a second one, but with a star, and that one turns out much better, and it actually ends up being my favorite out of all of them. And yeah, so once I very carefully get this unstuck from the board and remove the center, I just clean it up a little bit, and then I move on to cutting out a little gingerbread man, which I actually end up cutting out another one later because I decided that I thought it would be super cute to make a little gingerbread woman to go along with him. Oh, and I almost forgot that these smaller metal cookie cutters were really hard to actually get out of the clay because they're not as thick as the pink ones. So I was really struggling with getting it out at first, but eventually I got it, thankfully, without messing it up. And then I'm also going to make a pair of candy canes, and they're going to be magnetic so I can put them on my fridge. And I'm going to make it to where I can put them together to make a cute little heart. But the reason why I kept them separate is so that way, you know, if I choose that I want them to be spread out on the fridge rather than a heart, then I can do that. Okay, and now I'm just going to clean up my workspace, and this is going to take a couple days to dry, but for you, it's only going to take a couple seconds. All right, and here we go. All of our pieces are dry, and I applied gesso to all of them to give them a nice base, and now I'm going to gather up all the ones that I want to look like gingerbread, and I have my selection of paints that I want to use to create that ginger look, and I have an old makeup brush here that I'm going to use. And here is my blended paint palette, and now we're just gonna go in and dab all of these pieces with my brush, and as you can see, it's giving a really nice texture. And then once I'm done at dabbing all of the pieces that I want to look like gingerbread, I'm going to go in with a darker brown all along the edges to give it that cooked cookie look. And then right here I go back over the cookies with a mix between that lightish ginger color and a little bit of white in the centers. And for my first cookie, I'm going to take a bunch of white acrylic paint and layer it up on the cookie to make it look like frosting. And then I'm going to go in with some leftover diamond painting bits to add it as the cookie sprinkles. Okay, and here's the first one. I think it looks really cute, and I'm also going to do the same thing for this star here. Now I'm going to start working on our little gingerbread man and gingerbread woman. And I also thought it would be cute to use the diamond paintings for the little buttons. And then when I go to do the eyes, I didn't like how small they were looking at first, so I decided to make them a little bit bigger. And once they dry, I will end up going back in later on in the video and adding the little white sparkles to the eyes. And then for her, I'm going to give her some eyelashes. And also I want to add a cute little bow for her, so I'm just kind of trying to figure out which red I think matches the best. And I think I'm going to go with this one. And then I will end up going in with a little bit of a darker red over the bow to give a little bit more detail. Alright, and here they are all done, except for the white ice sparkles because I totally forgot to do those at first, but I'll do them later. Anyways, I think they turned out super adorable, and now we are working on the gingerbread houses. And for the first gingerbread house, I thought I would give it more of the Christmassy theme by adding in the red and green diamond bits, and then adding a cute little green wreath at the top. And here you can see a close-up of that one. And for the second gingerbread house, I decided to keep it more simple by just going in with a white frosting look. And now that we're done with the little gingerbread houses, we can now start on our big tic-tac-toe gingerbread house. And it got a little stuck to the paper, but that's okay. Anyways, I'm just going to take lots of globs of white paint again and add a bunch of snow to the top of the roof. And then I'm going to add a cute little red door. And then I decided that I also wanted to add some of those diamond bits to the top of the roof. I don't add them anywhere else just because I didn't want it to interfere with the game. But yeah, I just go in and try to make it look cute and Christmassy. Okay, and now that we're done with that, I'm just going to set it aside, add a little bit more light green because I felt like the other greenery was looking a little too dark. And now we can start working on our candy pieces, and I'm going to paint the gumdrops a bright green, and I'm going to start with the bottom so they have a chance to dry. And also you'll see me jump back and forth between the different pieces because I do need time to let the peppermint stripes dry before painting on the other ones. And for the gumdrops, I'm actually going to get a piece of paper out because once I get these all painted, I'm actually going to go in with my white glitter that I have here and sprinkle it all over them to give it that sugared candy look. And I also actually found it a lot easier to go in with a small fan paintbrush to kind of scoop up that glitter to sprinkle it along the sides rather than trying to pick it up and mess up the paint. Anyways, now I'm going to finish up the peppermint candies and set those aside. And then the next ornament that we're going to work on is this Christmas tree that I had kind of messed up. You know, this one's just going to be kind of just a fun one. And I'm just going to go in with some red and green polka dots and add the date to it. And now I'm going to start working on the candy canes. And the stripes for these were actually kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to perfect straight lines, so they're not perfect. As you can see, I kind of messed up that bottom one. And so I just did a quick white coating over it. And I'm just going to let that dry. And then I'm going to go and do a second coating over all of the peppermint candies and the candy canes. But I'm not going to make you watch that. Okay, and as you can see, all of these things are dried and have had their second coatings. And now we are going to start working on these three pieces because I want them to be green. So I'm going to give them all a quick layer of green so then I can set them aside and let them dry while I work on some of the other ornaments. Also, that's the ornament that I said was supposed to originally be a Santa Claus that I was going to change. And now that I painted it green, let me know in the comments before I finish it if you have an idea of what I'm turning him into. Anyways, for the star ornament, I'm going to go with a classy gold and white look for this and add some stars and write the word joy in the middle. And for this one, I'm gonna go in and add some holly branches to it, but I'm gonna let it dry before I add the berries. So for this one, I'm going to do something very similar to the other star, and I'm just going to add the branches to the outer edges of the star and the outer circle edges as well, and then I will end up adding the berries. Next, I'm going to work on this Christmas tree, and I'm just going to take more globs of white paint and apply little circles and then smear them up and try to create like a snow look. And then I'm also going to add some glitter on top of this to give it a nice shimmer. And I'm going to add little diamond bits as the ornaments for this one. Okay, and now it's time to see if you're right. We are going to be painting the Grinch. So my daughter has been liking the Grinch a lot lately, so I felt like I just had to make this ornament for her, which originally I wasn't even going to try to attempt doing the Grinch because I felt like it would be too hard. But when I was looking at the Santa Christmas cutter, I just felt like I could see the shape of the Grinch's face in it, so I knew that it would be perfect for this. And right here is when I remembered that I needed to add the little white sparkles to my gingerbread man and woman. And then I finished the eyes on the Grinch because that was looking extra creepy without them. And now onto our last ornament. I decided that I wanted to go with like a fun symmetrical Christmas themed tree. And then I decided that I actually wanted the trunk to be gold also, so I add some to the top of the tree and then I add it to the trunk. And now we are done with all of our pieces, so I'm going to let them dry, but for you, I'm going to go straight to the glamour shots. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to share my art with you. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!